Let's try this again. All right, it says you are live. Let's try this again.
No, it's working. It's working.
Somebody go check Twitter and see if this is actually live.
It's working. We're doing it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it popped up. Oh my god, it actually worked. This is shocking.
He did it.
I feel like I'm legitimately the worst at technology of all time. Like I have no idea how people fucking do this. Like I need people to help me with this shit, man. I gotta hire someone.
Yeah,
you guys ever see anyone who's tech savvy and who I need like a legitimate intern or something. All right. We're gonna record this and I'll upload this to the pod. I feel like this is a better way to get eyeballs if we're streaming through Twitter.
You need to get those balls.
People are anywhere, get the eyeballs. So how you guys doing? First live stream.
Very excited, tremendously so.
That's great. Well, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. No, I like is how you can, I guess, if people comment, you can pop their comments up here and show them on the screen. I'm sure I'll fuck something up again because I honestly have no fucking idea how to run this. But anywho, this will be boring for the podcast, so I'll have to edit this.
Oh, horrible.
This would be a horrible podcast audio. Anyway, so yeah, I guess for this week, man, I think this is I don't know, we're kind of close to dead zone, but we got schedule leaks coming up. So I guess if anything, I think the schedule stuff is kind of fun. Schedule leaks are funny. I know that a lot of people don't give a shit. And they're just kind of, I think, waiting out for training camp, but I enjoy the leak season. So, and I guess to start with, this is from, Kirk Minahan. So it's not, I'm not saying Kirk is not official. Kirk's had leaks before and he has sources in the organization. So I'm not trying to, poo-poo Kirk, but he's claiming that the opening on Wednesday, 9/9 is Patriots versus Seahawks, which would be, I would say, a pretty big game. So pretty massive matchup. So Pass Pro, why don't you kick it off, man? What would be your thoughts if you're opening against the Seahawks? How do you feel about that?
We have to utterly destroy them. Otherwise, national TV, local radio, local TV will be the most insufferable thing for the entire next week, and I don't want to deal with it. I want Drake May to shine. I want the offensive line to actually do its job. It needs to do its job. So yeah, we need to smash him in the mouth and not let him get up.
I mean, do you think there's any sort of how's the roster differential? I know it's too early. There's a lot to play out, but as far as not we're going to break it down from this season versus last season, you feel like there's a tangible roster difference?
In terms of both rosters, yes. The Seahawks lost a considerable amount of that defense in the offseason, and we gained a not so insignificant amount of pieces on both the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. One thing that people were kind of hating on you about, which I actually agree with, was the pickup of Reggie Gilliam. I think Reggie Gilliam's going to be a huge piece in this offense this year, especially with the tandem of Ramondre and Travion going into year two. I really believe Reggie Gilliam's going to be an important player for them this year.
Yeah, Brad, how do you feel about if they open against the Seahawks? How are you feeling?
Being a realist, I just think we need to be representative. We need to come out there and not just look totally inept offensively. And I think it's concerning because typically the defense is the one that's going to have the advantage early on versus the offense. If you look at our offense, adding a guy like Gilliam, adding on to our offensive line, we potentially are going to be talking about adding in wide receivers to the wide receiver room, new tight ends. There's just so many new pieces. It's not a familiar grouping that Drake and the offense have to coordinate. That makes me concerned going against a team like Seattle early on, who's just schematically, even if they lost some pieces, still just a powerhouse team. And I think that's concerning. So as long as we represent ourselves and hold our own, I think we can be okay. Looking at what we have for schedule ahead, difficulty of schedule, we don't have the toughest looking schedule apparently. So, that's positive news, but we'll see where those matchups fall, what days, who's the home, who's the away, and then we can play that whole game, which is another fun one where you say, 9-win team, 10-win team. But if you think back last year, we basically said if everything goes correctly, like 11 wins. We just totally smashed that. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not optimistic about playing Seattle early on, but I think if we represent ourselves okay, then I think people change the narrative quickly.
I just didn't think the league wanted to open up with the Super Bowl matchup. Like, is that something you want to like wait on for, I don't know, like having your back pocket for prime time later in the season?
No, they want the fucking instant gratification. Come on now.
Just like there's like, I feel like there's so much of this. I don't know how long the Vrabel story keeps going for. Obviously, like this is like the story that nobody can seem to put down. Even though now the photos that come out are so fucking stupid. You got like photos of them like talking in a loud place, and like that's like 1 million views from TMZ. Like it makes no fucking sense. Like it doesn't change anything tangibly. So I don't have any idea why that's something that people care that much about now. I get the story's salacious and nothing else is going on. So I don't know. I don't know when the story dies down, but maybe they want to carry that through to week 1 so they can have a camera on Vrabel for the whole game. I don't know, but I think it's a little ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous.
It's losing steam. It really is.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's
the online grifters are the only one who were keeping it alive. To be honest, I haven't seen one tweet about it in like 2 days, which tells me that the engagement the grifters are getting has died down significantly.
Well, your boy, Tony?
Yeah, good old Tony.
Tony Farmer there. I always don't want to give him
like
publicity, but yeah, I was getting into it with him because like I don't know, dude, that's legitimately a grift. Like if you're running, you're a 49ers fan, whatever, and then you just 99% of your tweets are about Vrabel and Rossini because that gets what engagement. Come on, man, like that's fucking ridiculous. So I don't know. I thought that was silly. Another story I thought was kind of fun, kind of interesting was Jim Murray had a fun kind of scoop the other day. I think this is not based on nothing. This is not just like a Felger Maz, hey, let's make something up, blah, blah, blah. Like Murray came out and said he talked to somebody in, a luxury condo in the Seaport who's talking to AJ Brown and AJ Brown's people about potentially, some housing in the Seaport after he comes to New England. So I thought that was kind of cool. Brett, what'd you make of that?
It's coming close. We're few weeks away from finally getting it through. Like we said a couple pods ago, but like when do we think this story is going to get like official, right? Because everyone's basically like, oh, it's going to be a 2028 first and then a few other picks, and it's going to be Philly and the Pats and whatnot. Like who's going to be the first one that basically breaks it and says this is what the deal is and these are the terms? Like who's going to do it and when does that happen? Because it's freaking there. Like if this doesn't happen, it'd be like the most shocking non-trade scenario. Like it would put what happened earlier in the year with like the Cincinnati Buffalo like whole ordeal, like totally go from this one, be like, well, the Oakland Baltimore one, where basically a Crosby being traded and then also it's not going to happen. Like this almost feels to that level. Like it feels like it's that level because it's just so guaranteed. So I'm just curious to see when it breaks, what it looks like. But I mean, the guy's coming to the Patriots. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, Shefty is already, not to interrupt, but Shefty's already going on, Twitter, Pat McAfee show, broken down what the trade compensation is looking like and broken down what the timeline is looking like. If this does not happen, it is the biggest trade failure I think I can ever think of. Truthfully, I think it actually dwarfs the Crosby Ravens stuff because at least the trade, there was a deal in place. With this one, you had all the smoke and all the talk, and then if it doesn't go through, then nothing happens at all. That's just like the biggest biggest tease in the world, I guess, and it really ruins Schefter's credibility since he's been so adamant that it's going to take place.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, Schefter's not going to fuck around with this story and be tweeting the way he is unless it's happening. Like that to me is like the biggest. It would have to be a tremendous fuck up by everyone involved. Like, because he's getting it from both sides. It's not just from the Patriots. Like he's getting from Patriots and the Eagles. Like, yeah, we're going to get this deal done. We're working this deal out. It's going to get done. But like, there's no terms yet, but it's going to get done. I just think the comp, obviously people can talk about the comp. And I think at this point it would be the 2027 first thing is clearly to me out the window. That's not real. I do think there's a possibility it's a first rounder in 2028, which is kind of like a second in 2027. And then you end up with that first in 2028. You add something coming back to the Patriots that people have mentioned, maybe like a fourth coming back to the Patriots. But like, I don't know. He's a dynamic receiver. Like he's a great receiver, man. There's no question. Like he's a player that clearly is of massive importance and would be to this roster. Is a guy that makes your team a ton better, despite it's going to cost something to get him. But I think it'd be completely worth it. And even if you get let's say you get 2 great seasons, and I don't know, 1 good season, like is that worth it to you, Pass Pro? Is that comp worth it?
I mean, 100%. So let's say you get, even 1 great season, a good season, and then you either move on or, trade him somewhere else, cut him or trade him somewhere else. It's worth it. I don't like it. So let's put it this way. So if he has a great season in 2026, okay, you still have your 2027 first round pick. If he even has a good season in 2027, your pick in 2028 isn't that great anyways. So I don't really care about, a middle to end of first round pick at that point. Like I don't care. I would rather have at that point 2 seasons worth of, on average, really good production from AJ Brown. Like I just think that's more important to what this team wants to accomplish and Drake May's development overall than a 2028 first round pick could ever be.
It's true too. You just know, I mean, like we know people overvalue picks. Like obviously picks count for something. They're important. The draft is important. We talk so often about how important it is to draft and develop well. But I mean, when you're talking about what they've drafted with first overall picks, you can go back the last ton of years with that.
15.
Not always a hit, folks. You know what I mean? Like it's not always a guarantee you're getting some stud player coming back. Namely, we're still, jury's out on Will Campbell, your boy Will Campbell.
You
still
shut your mouth.
What?
You stop your blasphemy.
Which is kind of like a good segue into, Caleb Lomu, kind of did some of the rookie minicamp there, strictly at left tackle. And I guess before I'll listen to you guys give a take on that first before I give a take. But how'd you feel about, do you make anything about Lomu exclusively being left tackle at rookie minicamp? Either of you guys?
No, I don't, because it just, I think it's one of those things where
I agree, by the way.
they're going, people are gonna jump all over this and make it seem like Big Country is in trouble down there on the left side. It's not happening. It's not going to happen this year. You're not going to turn on a guy who is your first round pick, high draft pick, year 2, but with a guy that you got late in the first round. And on top of it, Campbell was, in all accounts, a really solid left tackle for 3/4 of the season before his knee injury. And then he struggled coming back, and he had the fiercest competition like all the year that he's played in the playoffs. Like, I get it. We've gone down that road. So no, you're not going to turn around on your asset that quickly and switch it up. Like you got to stay with him. So Lomu, I think they're going to move him around. He's got to be a swing tackle. Like they got to be able to figure out, can he do left side, right side? And what does that look like? So they start him left, they move him right, but they drafted him to get behind Moses and have Moses be the one to go through and be the guy that he replaces. So that's where he's going to slide to eventually. I make no stock in the pick.
Gotcha.
So I definitely
we have a
answer
comment
the
here
question.
from not sports thoughts.
Just sports thoughts. Sport thoughts.
That's right.
Please.
Is that on AJ Brown, I assume?
Yeah, I believe so. And Sport Thoughts, thank you for the comment. First one of Savage's live podcast career, so I'm honored to answer it. I think a great season for AJ Brown is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,400 yards and 10 to 12 touchdowns. I think that's probably
It's
like
pretty fucking good.
a pretty fucking good season. I think a good season is probably around like the 1,200 yard mark and 8 to 10 touchdowns. I think is a good expectable outcome based on where he is and what this offense I think is capable of and what Drake's capable of course. Now to your question about Lomu, it's rookie minicamp. There's only like 2 or 3 tackles that are available. What do you expect they're going to do realistically that's going to make any sort of difference in terms of what position he's playing in rookie minicamp? He essentially, and Greg Bedard had a good thought about this that I'm going to steal. It's rookie minicamp. Let's just put guys in their natural position so we can get through the camp and just see where they are physically without having to have them worry about, oh, what foot am I going to be stepping off of? That's all OTA and training camp stuff. Because I agree with Brett and what a lot of people have said. Loma was brought in to be the swing / eventually take over right tackle from Morgan Moses. Will Campbell, and people hate to admit this, but he was a pretty damn good left tackle for a lot of the season. Injury obviously hampered him, but I don't think they're ready to give up on the number 4 overall pick in 2025. I'm not, certainly, but I think the combination of Campbell and Lomu in the future at right tackle, I think that's a pretty good base to start off of.
I mean, it's clear though that I brought this image up. Geez, I don't know how to do this, but I had an image from PFF, right? Like it was just Campbell's PFF stats or grades as the season went, right? And I know everyone's like, oh, he struggled against Myles Garrett and what's his her something from Pittsburgh. I forget his name, but he's a good D end. And yeah, he did. Like he had his moments where Campbell struggled, but you can go down the list and he had a pretty good season, like a pretty good rookie season for a 21-year-old left tackle before his injury, before week 12. And then I looked at the grading again on PFF after the MCL tear and in the postseason, and we kind of know what happened, right? Like his struggles were so. I mean, he had some brutal struggles. I mean, we watched it. You don't even have to look at the grades. You can look with your eyes. When you're watching the Super Bowl and he's getting pushed back on his ass on plays that are blown dead, you got to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on here? Like, this is not something where, again, to me, to revisit it, I don't know, maybe he shouldn't have been playing. And
no, he definitely shouldn't have. I think that's pretty obvious now.
I don't get how they could have made that choice. Like I'm still trying to revisit that decision. And like, if he's hurt and he can't go and he can't anchor, how is that a decision you can make as a franchise? Like, why wouldn't you say, we're going to go with Vidarian Lowe, even though everyone hates Lowe? I understand.
It's the one fatal flaw, and not to cut you off, but it's the one fatal flaw of Mike Vrabel's coaching, in my opinion. He loves his guys and he wants to give his guys chances to compete, and that's what he believes is going to make the difference, right? Is his guys fighting as hard as possible because he believes in them. I truly think that is his fatal flaw, is just believing in his guys too much.
Well, maybe, because let's also remember, like early on in the year, everyone was butchering Stevenson and basically saying the guy keeps fumbling the ball. The guy's a problem. We can't let him play. We got to move on from him. And this was all like before week 6. And then you get to the playoffs and he's one of our solid performers. So maybe this is a situation where, yeah, in hindsight at the Super Bowl, I'll question it every game. And that's like really just the halftime at the Super Bowl. What are you doing? Like, this is it, guys. You're in the freaking Super Bowl. You have a chance, you're in striking distance, and your guy's clearly getting like table turned. Can we kind of go ahead and figure something out? That's it. Other than that, I mean, to me, it's his willingness to recognize like where it's just a glitch and like essentially the guy like you stand behind because you're going to need him when it comes time to be needed. And that's exactly what he said with Stevenson. He goes, we need to have this guy be able to produce. So we got to stick behind him. And I look at it and say that's what made him so effective last year. Is I think he held a good amount of accountability in the room, in the locker room, during practices, during reps. But like, if you went out there and made a mistake on the field, like he wasn't going to butcher you for it, like someone else, and use you as a scapegoat. And I think that's what gained him the respect of the team. So I'm not ready to go to that point where that could be his fatal flaw. I may be wrong. It's only been year one, but we'll see where it goes, especially with a guy like Will Campbell, because like you said, I mean, people are pitchforks and, coming down trying to say we got to get rid of this guy. If he can stand behind him and it doesn't work out, well then, yeah, now we have a problem.
Well, the thing is, like, you still have such like an easy out, kind of, if he can't go at left tackle. I think the Lomu pick gives him so much flexibility because you're assuming he's going to be able to play left tackle. That's all he played, in college, and his length is fine and the athleticism is very good. So you're hoping that that's someone who basically can pan out, and Lomu can pan out we all think right tackle for Morgan Moses. But again, if Campbell can't go at left tackle, Mike Onwenu, this is probably Mike Onwenu's last season with the Patriots. Mike Onwenu's on a contract year with zero guaranteed money remaining. I don't know what happens. Does he hold in? Does he play? Like, I actually don't know what happens with Mike Onwenu. That could be something where that's a situation I would monitor. That's a situation where I would say he might, again, like, maybe he needs more money, or I'm not saying you trade him, but that's a player I would pay attention to. Now, if Onwenu doesn't go, Campbell, and he's out at some point, and Campbell has to move to guard, like, there are solutions here where you can play mix and match at the offensive line and still have a very, very strong unit. Granted, some of these changes might happen in like a year. It's not something that's going to happen now. Ideally, this season, Morgan Moses stays healthy as long as possible. Caleb Lomu is your swing tackle, and he's able to sit a little and bulk up and learn. And I think you have a pretty strong line, but there's a lot of kind of ifs there, especially with the health of Morgan Moses, the health of Elijah Vera Tucker, and Vera Tucker's been massively injured. So I don't know. There's my kind of O-line rant.
So one thing I just want to say regarding that is, like, let's say that they do make the decision that Will Campbell, and this is the wrong decision in my opinion, but Will Campbell is a guard and not a left tackle, and they move Lomu into left tackle. You're still drafting a tackle high in the first round in 2027 to replace Morgan Moses. Like, truthfully, it doesn't solve any of your issues to do that as much as people want to think it does. Right now, your issues are moderately solved if we can get Caleb Lomu to be a serviceable right tackle and Will Campbell to play at the level he was playing at before the injury last year. So it's just, for me, again, I'm not going to read into rookie minicamp. I just think it's, let's put the guys through their paces and get the hell out of here. But I just think that entertaining Caleb Lomu at left tackle is a futile idea.
Well, switching gears a little bit, what are your thoughts on the number choices? I know the big one was obviously the Kyle
I wanted
Williams.
to talk about this.
Kyle Williams was trending number 8. Now he says, no, I'm going number 18. Do we think that means Diggs is back in the conversation with the Pats?
I think there's, like, just to be clear, there's a non-zero chance that Diggs is back in the roster. Like, I've been doubting, obviously, as soon as Kyle Williams switched to 8, was going to switch to 8, I was like, all right, that really seals it, actually. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to take the guy's number. But I think it's interesting. I think ultimately you'd have to talk to Kyle. I don't think he's been on record being like, yeah, I went back because I wanted to leave it open for Diggs. Like, I don't think that's something he's said, but I think there's, like I said, it's a non-zero chance, and it leaves the door open. And it really depends on what kind of contract Stephon Diggs wants. Do you know what I mean? Because I think if you can get Diggs on cheap money, like AJ Brown's coming here. If you can get Diggs on cheap money, you have an outstanding room. It becomes like an outstanding wide receiver room. So, hold on. What did Joe say here? We'll put one of Joe's comments up from Joe LFG Pat's pod here. If we get Diggs before June 1st, that strengthens our position when we go back to Howie.
That's a really good point.
That's true. I think if you have Diggs and Dobbs, I don't think, I don't think Howie has a lot of leverage, but I don't think Howie has that much leverage regardless. Like they both know what each other wants. It's like mutual. You know what I mean? Like it would be weird if Howie comes to the table and says, yeah, I'm going to need that 2027 one. Well, it'd just be like, all right, well, we're just not going to do the deal. Like, it wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, because the issue is they both want to do the deal. Like Eagles fans are forgetting this because they're always in the mentions yelling and this.
I've triggered them so many times. It's so great.
But, like, you got to realize, like, both teams want to get the deal done. The Eagles also want to get the deal done. They want to trade A.J. Brown. They don't want him back. He's been a headache for them. He doesn't gel with their quarterback. It's not working. They both want to complete the deal. So again, just want to make that perfectly clear. Pats, bro, what do you have on it?
Well, like I said, and I kind of was I don't want to say I was the first to talk about this, but as soon as Stephon Diggs, you got that not guilty verdict, my gut immediately said he's coming back. And, people, said, oh, there's no way. Kyle Williams, he's got his number, blah, 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 as if like a jersey number matters. But for Mike Reese, for the team to announce Kyle Williams was moving to number 8, post the graphics and everything on socials, and then for Mike Reese to just subtly slip a tweet in, oh, yeah, by the way, Kyle Williams is keeping the number 18 and not moving to 8, that's a little suspect to me. It is. So
I agree with you.
If Mike Reese says something, there's always a reason behind it. We all know he's connected. For him just to slip it in very innocuously in a tweet with like 2 other things about jersey numbers and just, oh, by the way, Kyle Williams changed his mind. Like, come on, that's a bit obvious. And I think, and if you want to call Joe's comment up here, I think they do love Diggs. I just don't think that they liked where his number was in 20. It was
like 26. Was like 26 million or something.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's not crazy for a receiver if he was, if he was 28 years old and had the kind of production he did. Yeah. I don't think they have a problem with his contract, but he's 33. Second season coming off of an ACL tear.
Yeah,
I don't think they like his contract at 26. What I think they'll do, and I am kind of a full-on, tinfoil hat believer that the reason that Williams didn't change his number is because Diggs is coming back. I think he's going to come back on like a 2-year deal that's going to have like 2 dummy years. And they're just going to front load him some cash and then deal with the cap stuff down the road. And that way he gets paid and they can accommodate both his contract in 2026 and A.J. Brown's contract. I'm a full believer, full conspiracy theory believer on that one.
Well, the reality is if you look at contracts, like this is not the year we're going to be absorbing A.J. Brown. Yeah, we still have cap space. Like, this is the year where we're going to have cap space. We thought things were going to happen with Gonzo. They decided to, give him the 5th-year option. I still would love for them to figure that out long term.
I don't mean to cut you off, but even if they signed Gonzo, that money is not hitting until 2028.
Well, but that's what I mean, though. Like, they have to figure out that contract because I think that just kind of sets the table for what then becomes May and then, what comes down the road with who knows with Campbell and et cetera, et cetera. So, like, I think Gonzo kind of sets the table, and the longer you wait, the higher the price goes. Just looking at Diggs, though, I 100% agree. It's going to be like a 2-year contract with an easy out in year 2, and they have the money to absorb it. You look at it and say, you could get A.J. Brown and have Diggs and add Dobbs. Like, that's legit. That is a legit.
That's like probably like a top 3 room.
Yeah. So, like, I look at it, and on top of it, like, you're still developing Kyle Williams behind, so you're going to be able to have him. Like, I know we talked, like, Pop's not going to make the roster at that point. We'd obviously would trade Booty out at that point. But either way, like, it's going to be an elite roster. You're still going to be able to find room where Diggs isn't the guy. And I think that was the big thing that kind of wore him down was he was the guy. He didn't get any rest on that side. So now you're going to be able to balance it out between him and Brown on getting the rest, and Dobbs got enough young legs that he can keep going. Like that's going to be a difference maker, but it's not going to be a 3, 4, 5 year contract where we're going to be like, what do we do with this guy? No, this is going to be a 2 years easy out.
Yeah, dummy years behind. That way they can spread out the cap hit of the signing bonus. To be quite honest, if we have, again, this is all speculative, of course, but if the room ends up being A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, and Romeo Dobbs, the amount of mixing and matching Josh McDaniels can do is ridiculous. And we all know that Drake loves to distribute the ball, throw to the open guy. It's a matchup nightmare because if you're not double teaming AJ Brown, Drake's throwing it to him. If you're double teaming Stephon Diggs, he's finding Dobbs or Brown. If you're stupid enough to double team Dobbs, then Diggs and Brown are going to kill you. So it's just it makes too much sense not to do it, and I think they have the ability. Like Joe says, you got to push the chips in. No Live Entertainment. I agree with you. And
so I want to read this comment. So we got another comment of this guy. No Love Entertainment. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, we he's asking, is AJ Brown a done deal? So again, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, is like, no, it's not pen on paper done, but like it's pretty fucking done. It again, like I would say, like we knew before the trade, before the draft, basically it was pretty effing close, and it was getting close, and people were really starting to talk, and then it died, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And it was clearly like some sort of impasse where Howie was trying to get a number, and the Patriots didn't want to give him what he wanted, so they're like, all right, let's wait it out. Like we don't need this before the draft. Wait it out. And so now I think again, I did reiterate this before, is I think both teams want the deal to be done. This is what people have to understand. It's not a leverage play. It's not like we need this guy. You have to, like the Patriots want the player, love the player. The Eagles know this. But the Patriots also know that the Eagles want to move on from the player, don't want his contract, he's caused a lot of headaches for them. He has a horrible relationship with their quarterback. He doesn't like their quarterback. They just drafted a wide receiver in the first round. They just spent money on a wide receiver position. They have a huge logjam now at their wide receiver room. So both teams have done things. And to be honest, like if AJ doesn't happen and Diggs is still out there, I think at that point they'd be like, Diggs, come on back. What do you want? Here we go. $25 million. Sure. Here you go. Fully guaranteed. Like I think they would do whatever as soon as if AJ Brown did fall through. Like there are options. So yeah, long story short, do I think it's done? I think it's pretty fucking done without being pen on paper. That's all I have to say. So
I hate the leverage conversation. And I know it came up a lot after Philly drafted Mekhi Lemon. And there's like, everyone goes, well, Howie just gained the leverage because now he has a wide receiver and that puts him in a position where, he's okay with doing with driving the market. And if it doesn't work out with Brown, at least he has a backup plan. And to your point, you just log jammed up the wide receiver room, and you had to trade a bunch of assets to try and make that happen just to move up and get Lemon. So I don't see how that changes really anything. And if we don't get AJ Brown, yeah, it would suck, but you're right. We would just shift gears to get Diggs. I don't think it, let me put it this way. Like AJ Brown, he could be a difference maker when we get to the playoffs and what that looks like. But I don't think we all of a sudden we can't make the playoffs if we don't have AJ Brown. Like, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, it's not just like the playoffs are out of the question. You know what I mean? Hold on, we have another question here.
Oh no, remember, boys, just real quick, remember the schedule is actually pretty easy for the Patriots.
Well, this was a weird narrative this week. Hold on, let me answer this question first. I'm a big fan of Kayshon Boutte. Does he have to go if we get Diggs? So like, there's a log jam somewhere, dude. You know what I mean? Like this is the problem. Like you can't have all the fucking receivers. So like if you had, let's say you had Diggs and AJ Brown, and Romeo Dobbs and Matt Collins, like they're right there. Those are your like top four. Like, and those are guys they would play all the time because they're huge bodies. and they're people they want to run the football with, they want on the field, right? So where does Booty go ultimately? My next thought is like they've already been rumored last season and this season. They've been rumored to have Booty on the trade block. So I just don't know if they're getting what they want for Booty. But there's been, again, it was like a day 3 pick was a rumor. They didn't trade him. So I don't know what's going on there. I like Booty. A lot of players like Booty. A lot of fans, I should say, like Booty. He's done a really good job for us, but I don't think he's a long-term player here. Just like someone like, I think Hunter Henry, who did a great job here and has done well. He's about to age out. And, Raritan is basically his drafted replacement. So, yeah. So, sorry, let me hide that. What are the comments here? What does this say? Diggs would crowd the wide receiver room and would take away the whole point of trading. People are just talking about. All right, sorry, I'm reading the comments live. Got to remember recording a podcast as well.
Guys, you're freaking not a professional over here.
I am absolutely not a professional. I think that's the most clear. I think if anything's clear, it's that I'm not a professional. That is very clear. But yeah, no. So, Pass Pro, you just brought this point up, and I like this point. I thought it was weird. All of a sudden this week, we went from the narrative was the Patriots have the hardest schedule ever. They got like this is going to be they're in big trouble, and this is they're going to have the first place schedule, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden we get, I think it was Chad Graff from The Athletic shares something's like, well, actually the Patriots really just have kind of an easy schedule, the 12th easiest. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
like,
it makes no sense whatsoever.
You haven't played any football games yet. What the fuck happened?
And so in the middle, not in the middle, at the end of last season, everyone was saying, oh, based on the Patriots opponents, they have the toughest schedule in 2026, and that's it's going to be the downfall because they're going to be facing so many teams that have so much more talent, yada 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 yada. And all of a sudden, after free agency, after the draft, like you said, Chad Graff comes out, and I saw a few other people. I can't tell you who, but I saw a few other people saying that, well, actually, based on the Patriots' opponents next year, they're actually going to have a more difficult schedule, but still an easier schedule compared to the rest of the league. Which, like, truthfully, how the fuck does that make sense? Like, you can't go from at the end of last season telling me that, oh, you're not going to see 14 wins ever again. You're going to have a hard schedule to, well, actually, it's the 12th easiest. I'm sorry. Like, quit moving the goalposts on me. It's either they faced really good defenses last year and beat the shit out of them, or and they're a good team, or they faced horrendous offenses last year and they're going to have a much harder schedule this year. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what happened. Like, who decided all of a sudden that their schedule was easy? Like, who put out the bat signal, the narrative that all of a sudden like their schedule sucks again and they're going to have that whole dialogue. Like, you have to wait for games to be fucking played.
They don't care about that. Realistically, Chad Graff is just like, oh shit, I got to get something out. Let me fudge some math and get some clicks on actually the Patriots schedule is going to be the 12th easiest this year. And here's why Drake May could still fail. Like, that's just
because now instead of doing it based off of records from last season, they're doing it based off of their own projections, right?
Yes.
So it changed what we're actually like basing they're doing this off of. And so now that we're doing it off projections, well, we can say whatever the fuck we want, basically. That's what projections means. Like,
yep.
Saying something's a projection just means like you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I project that I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the next 6 months, but if I don't go to the gym, then guess what? I'm probably not going to lose 50 pounds in the next 6 months. You know what I mean?
There you go. That can segue. That's for our next sponsor, Awaken 180. No, I'm just kidding. There you go. There you go. They can pay for a spot. We'll have to get them on here.
That was a good one.
Yeah, there we go.
Awaken, hit me up.
But yeah, man, I feel like this is, at least we got schedule week. Next week we'll be able to, Thursday night, the whole schedule's dropping, which I love, man. I know, again, people are, unless you're like a kind of like a sicko, the schedule stuff does nothing for you. But again, people who actually maybe want to go to the games and are visualizing when they're going to games, the schedule drop's a big deal because you got to look and plan out That's real time. Like I'm going to go to maybe 5 or 6 games this year, something like that. So, got to plan it out when I love the standard 1:00 home games are my favorite. Just like a classic Pats versus Jets 1:00
day at 1:00.
Yeah, gorgeous October day. That's my favorite. And we got to go back, Brett. We got to have to do the Savage Boston game trip again. We went last year we had like
Buffalo.
The snowiest day.
We were at the Buffalo game.
Yeah, we're at Buffalo when they blew the lead. That was brutal, actually.
Oh, when I was able to get those tickets, but I wasn't able to go.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah, that sucked.
Well, thank God I didn't go because that game fucking blew.
That was a really tough game because not only did the weather freaking suck and it just like kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like we came out of the chute in the first half, really the first quarter, but like held on through the first half and felt like we had it, and then we fucking fell apart. And not only on like have to deal with that, we had like a couple of trolls but were sitting behind us that like one dude was wearing like a Baltimore jersey, one dude was wearing like a Steelers thing. And we're like, what the fuck are you doing here? They were just a bunch of trolls. So we had to deal with the freaking Pats getting curb stomped by Buffalo and not being able to get out of their own way on offense. But we had the freaking trolls behind us who I thought Savage was going to go ahead and clock at one point. We were going to get in trouble with these season tickets. But, oh, man, that was a tough game. But, yeah, we need to redeem ourselves this year. Pick a good matchup, Savage, and represent.
Dude, we stayed after the game. This was I don't know what we were doing. Like, why was who's a Pats base in here? What's up, Savage? What's up, man? I don't. So like, we stayed after the game and we're like, all right, was this Snooty's fault? Whose strategy was this to stay afterwards for that long? Like, we went with 5 guys and we stayed after. We're like, let's just tailgate after, right? The parking lots are going to be crazy, and so it was like I think it was November, but it was a genuine blizzard.
It was December.
Blizzard.
December. Like the first.
It was December. We got 6 inches of snow and we were supposed to get 2.
Like everyone's tent things were like inverted, upside down, flying around. Like it was a disaster, dude. After the game,
I would say my scouts history came into play because we ended up putting the cars like at an L shaped, and I freaking strapped them to the sides of the car. And even then, dude, it opened the door. Like it was
outrageous. No, for real, that was an outrageous weather day. I don't know, that was crazy. Another quick question before we start. I don't know when we want to wrap this up, but another quick question would be, how many primetime games do we get this year?
3, 4.
I think 3. I don't know. People are trying to say like 5.
I mean, 5 would be a lot. Like, I can't remember the last time the Patriots had 5 primetime games. I think 3 or 4 is kind of the target the NFL wants to keep for, the teams on the rise. And by the way, the Patriots are still a team on the rise. But 5 would be a lot, I think.
I think it really just, I mean, again, we got to see like when the matchups are home away, things like that. But I mean, you have a December game against Buffalo again, and it's on your standard 1:00 slot. Like that's the game that you kind of circle and say, well, that could get flexed. And like those are the areas where we got to look at and see where those come into play. But I mean, looking at it today, yeah, I would say probably 3 or 4 is okay for a number. I still think I've been saying it constantly. Like I don't see how we're not top 5 in the AFC. Like I just don't see how we're not.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you got, again, you talk about the games that should be primetime or games that or at least, let's say, I don't know, if does the 425 national slot, does that count as primetime?
I think 425 national slot does count because it's a standalone, right?
I mean, it is a national game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it actually.
I'm pretty sure 425 counts
by definition. But again, you got like, I would say at least a few games, again, Denver Broncos first Pats at home. Like that to me could easily be a primetime game. That should be a big matchup.
Both Buffalo games are primetime.
Yeah, either or. One of the Buffalo games is going to be like a 1 p.m. The other is going to be Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Period. Like it hasn't leaked yet. Believe me, I'm on there. I'm fucking waiting. But yeah, the other one is certainly going to be a Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, something like that. I love the Pats versus Chiefs matchup. I think just a May versus Mahomes, like as far as a I don't know, promotional standpoint, like I think that would be a massive viewing experience for people.
If Mahomes is back by then.
Yeah, and how he's playing.
Well, they expect him back week 1 because he's lined up against the Denver Broncos, I think, in prime time, week 1. That leaked out today. So is Chiefs Broncos week 1. So that has to at Kansas City.
Yeah, I think Kansas City continues to slide. I mean, he's been a middle of the pack quarterback for the last few years. Like they had the run, but like statistically, he's been middle of the pack. Like he's not.
Again, but he's still marketable. Do you know what I mean? Like they can sell him.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm talking about. Like prime time is about like selling people. You know, who do they want to watch? What games? Like if you're selling Drake May versus Mahomes, that to me is like that's a matchup you want to sell. You know, that feels easy versus, versus any Mahomes versus like Josh Allen. Like I don't even know if they play this year, but Mahomes versus Josh Allen, like that's a game that sells. So yeah, I think those would be massive. Obviously, another one, Patriots, Seahawks. Obviously, that could be week 1, Wednesday night. And then so that to me is at least I would say 4 games where they could easily be primetime matchups. I would give it 4. And I think the Patriots will be a ticket that people want to watch, man, on TV. I think they're going to be an attractive team to watch. Like Drake May is going to become hopefully one of the big faces of the league and continue to improve and develop and not do something like CJ Stroud did in subsequent years or have some sort of like falling off after a big season. So
one thing I just want to talk about real quick is, in terms of Drake's progression and everything, he's just different. Like, and again, this is stealing Greg Bedard's take. Sorry. I think that just the way he's wired, that Super Bowl loss is eating at him. And I think he's going to do damn near everything possible to right that mistake, as it were. I am personally ready for made to AJ Brown multiple times, putting it in, ridiculous windows, over the middle, along the sideline. Just I'm ready for it. And I truly believe that Drake May is going to go to another level this year.
I just feel
like he's got juice,
I mean, AJ Brown could be such a difference maker. My God, like it's not going to be Brady Moss. Like, no, like that's not going to happen. But like, he's just going to open up so many options and give May the ability to just cook. And like, that was the biggest thing that was our issue last year is like, I know we fall in love with some of our wide receivers. Like we all were on the booty train last year, but in reality, he's not a great wide receiver. He's a solid professional caliber receiver, but he's not a difference maker. Like Mac Hollins was like awesome for us and outproduced Booty, but like Mac Hollins is your typical journeyman wide receiver. And then like you talk about a guy like Pop Douglas, who's like a nice storyline for coming up, but like really he's not an NFL caliber starting wide receiver or getting like serviceable reps. Like he's a special teamer at best. And then like your like 5th or 6th string. So getting a guy like AJ Brown, adding Dobbs, we talked about Diggs. Can we bring him back? We'll see what happens with the development of Kyle Williams, but AJ Brown's just going to slot guys. And that's like the biggest thing. When you can slot guys in the spot that they need to be at, it just makes a world of fucking difference because they're seeing different coverage and they're able to get themselves in a better position to be able to be an available option. And Drake has already shown the ability to like distribute the ball, find the options, use his head. Like it's going to be such a fucking difference maker getting a guy like that in the roster. It just freaking gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. No, it's, clearly like there's some people have different views of the wide receiver room. Like I view it where I think Drake had a special season and elevated his team. That's how I view it. I think that some people view it like like Booty seems to be a guy where people really seem to fall in love with him. And I get it. Like, you draft a player, develop the player, you want him to succeed. You watch him have some great plays. I understand that, but you got to realize, like, I think he caught for like 550 yards last year. Now, that's awesome. Great. Like, that's good. Like, solid performance. He had a really good catch in the postseason, which was one of the better postseason catches ever against the Texans. But again, there are differences in just like talent level. And if you want to just improve the room as a whole, I think Booty at some point won't be here, but he's a solid like wide receiver 4. That's what he is. Wide receiver 3-4. But if you have a real room like Dobbs, AJ Brown, and Diggs, that's a different caliber room. You know, like I'm sorry. There's like different calibers there. Hold on, we had a couple comments quick, and then eventually we'll sign off here. We got a comment from Blake Martin. Can you see Eli Raridan possibly emerging as the starter through the season? I don't know. That's tough. I said before. I said there's an off chance Hunter Henry doesn't make the roster. Again, very, very off chance. But again, if you cut him, you save a lot of money, and it doesn't hurt you at all cap-wise. So basically, they have incentive to cut him if they needed to. They probably won't because he's a leader, right? So they don't have to cut that player, and he's still effective. But yes, at some point, I think Raridan should kind of move beyond, especially athletically, we should move beyond Hunter Henry because, again, I think Hunter Henry is just taking a step back. He had a pretty lousy postseason, didn't block well, didn't receive well. He just kind of looked like he was losing it a bit. So didn't love his playoff performance. And last one here from Beantown Takes, Pop should get traded. Yeah, I don't think anyone would trade anything for Pop. This is the problem. Like, you need someone to give up something. Like, maybe you could do a pick swap. Someone want him for a 6-7 pick swap, you know, because I don't know who's trading massive assets for Pop Douglas. I think I like Pop when he gets into space, but just never panned out as a pure receiver. If he's wide open, catches it, like, he can make someone miss, but just so often he's not in the right spot, or I don't know, he falls down when he catches the ball immediately. Like, there's like sometimes, like, I don't know, Pop it hasn't panned out in the way they want, and they want big receivers who can block now, which means, again, that I think Pop is not going to be a guy who's there long. I think he might be the odd man out. So, you know, let's see how it goes. You guys have any other thoughts before we sign it off?
Hey, I want to get your thought, Savage. I know you called into EEI, had a little conversation with Shime. It was all about, you know, the whole
fuck Shime.
You going back and forth when it came to the Lomu pick. How was that conversation with Shime? What was that like for you?
That was fun, man. Well, I called in because you texted me. I called in. Mego said I should call in, and so, you know, if they asked me to call in, I'll call in. I think they wanted me to. I don't know. Did they want me to call in and like?
Oh, they wanted you to call in and destroy Shime. They wanted.
I don't know what's his character. What's his character? Is he like the guy that gets yelled at or something? Like, does he? Well,
he's the guy who has the. He's like the who's that? The producer for Felger and Maz, the Jimmy Stewart. Yeah. He's the Jimmy Stewart. He's always the one with the outrageous.
Oh, schedule leak.
What do we got?
I knew this was coming too. I had it. Patriots versus Lions in Germany, week 10 international schedule.
Wow, that's big.
Well, there's one prime time.
Yep, that's a prime time. That's a 9 a.m.
Prime time at 9:30 in the morning. Wow.
Wait, Hadlick had it 11 minutes ago.
Did he?
Yeah, he posted a German flag 11 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's. I tried to get that info from a German friend we have on here, but he was like 80% sure, so I didn't say anything. Anywho, but yeah, man. So all right, we'll end it off with the schedule leak. But yeah, so sorry, I don't. Just to finish the conversation, I didn't know. I didn't know who Shime was.
He's the contrarian who has like the most outrageous contrarian takes. That's what his shtick is.
Maybe he's a lovely person in real life.
He's going to say, actually, he sucks.
I don't know. I don't know him. I know a lot of guys at EI over there, guys I've talked to, whether it's Adam Jones and Fitzy and Lyons, who's another guy who's been over there a bunch. And I know I've talked to a bunch of these radio guys. I've met a bunch in person. To be honest, everyone's been really nice. So I've no bad, bad things to say. To be honest, I don't really have I try not to have a ton of conflict, or beef with people. Like I'm into, talking Pats, honestly. So I know I came after him in the morning because his take was so shitty about Lomu and drafting offensive line. And then they mentioned again, as I said on there, they mentioned Keldrick Falk being the player they wanted instead. I was like, he doesn't even have a fucking pass rush. You wanted to take, they talk about getting speed. Let's take a developmental project who's a good edge and doesn't know how to pass rush. Like, it just made no sense who they suggested instead of that player. And that's what I didn't like. It's like, if you had a better suggestion or someone you wanted to draft, then that's different. So anyway, that was my thoughts on that. But all right, well, good stuff. I feel like this is a pretty good live stream for first time around.
Tremendous job.
I kind of like how people are interactive on here. It's pretty cool. I like that the most. People get to comment and bring it up and interact. I think that's pretty neat. So, now we officially Patriots versus the Lions in Germany, which is, let's see, hopefully just not a complete mess of a game, but we got one. We got a schedule leak. So, all right, guys, we'll take it easy. I'm going to upload this. I had to figure out how to do this at some point, but upload this to the actual podcast things. And we're going to be streaming again. I'm going to try to do it every Tuesday night at around 8:30. That's the goal for streaming time, so we can have kind of a reliable time slot. All right, peace. Take it easy. See you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.